Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elonin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. We had some technical snafus today. I will explain why in a second. Welcome to Pre-Market Prep. I'm Spencer. You can tell by my beautiful mug. There's Dennis. There's Joel. First, I will turn my camera on for a moment so you can see that I'm home right now. The problem is my little puny home computer can't really handle showing with the camera on. So I'm home. The reason I'm home and not at the office is because, drum roll please, I have COVID. So I've been diagnosed, confirmed two times with COVID-19. So for the next 10 days, 8 days because it's from the start of your symptoms, which is for me on Monday, I will be confined to my house, my apartment, and I'll be stuck here. And that's the situation. So we're going to roll with the punches for the next week or so because I'm going to be here. Right now I'm working off of a laptop with two screens. And we're going to do our best. Joel and Dennis and Mitch, we're all going to power through. I am feeling okay. You've probably heard me.
What are your symptoms? What are your symptoms?
Well, I've got this little nagging cough, which you'll probably hear, which I've had this since Monday. I'm congested, which you can maybe also hear, though I do feel noticeably better today than I was yesterday. Yesterday I did not feel great. In hindsight, shouldn't have gone to the office, and that's something that I will have to live with. But I've not had a fever. I have not had any breathing problems. And I have asthma, so that's concerning. But no, just the cough and the congestion, some sinus pressure, and a little bit of neck pain, which when I was at the urgent care yesterday, the second one, because I went to two, the second one, she said, yeah, neck pain is a common thing with the Delta variant, apparently. So here's what she said yesterday when we got there. So here's what happened. I went and I got a COVID test yesterday at like noon, and it came back positive at like 3 o'clock or 3:30, and I was like, I'm gonna get another one just to be safe. So I want to get a second one. And when I went to the second place, we told them, it was me and Ariel, my fiance, and we were both there to get tested. And I got the Johnson & Johnson. She got the Moderna. And the doctor said, oh, Moderna, that's great. I've only seen one breakthrough case with a Moderna vaccine. Well, what do you know? Now she's seen two. So, and then she said, she asked what I got, Pfizer or Moderna, and I went, neither. I got Johnson & Johnson. And she went, ooh, that's interesting. And I went, wait, why is that interesting? And so, but basically, she just hasn't seen a lot of Johnson & Johnson vaccines. But she was like, yeah, you probably have COVID right off the bat. But anyway, so she'd only seen one Moderna breakthrough case, and before yesterday, now she's seen two. So that's the story. Morning glory. And
how's Ariel?
She's fine. She has her only symptom is starting this morning. She's a little bit congested, but she had nothing yesterday, nothing the day before. We don't know where we got it, anything like that. But we will be staying home for the next 10 days, and I can't really see the chat right now because I don't have the screen space. So thank you.
They want you to feel better.
Okay, thank you to everyone. I assume that you're all saying nice things.
Yes, they are.
And again, I turned my camera on just to show you that I'm alive and well, but my computer literally can't handle the camera right now. So that's the story.
Did you have you guys been eating out in restaurants at all?
We do that. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. So it's possible I got it from there. We saw some of her family over the weekend. It could have been them. Could have been the office for all I know. I don't know. I don't know.
Can I ask you one question?
You can.
Did
I'm
you have to
open
get
book.
COVID on my birthday?
Well,
Ruin your birthday.
technically, I
You
didn't
called me
get
during
it.
my birthday dinner.
I apologize.
I
Oh,
apologize.
man.
I technically didn't get it on your birthday. I just got it diagnosed
Okay,
on your
confirmed
birthday.
diagnosed.
But yep, that's the
Oh,
situation.
boy.
So if you were, planning on going to New York next week to see me, I may or may not be there. My quarantine
Oh, yeah.
does end Wednesday night / Thursday morning. So TBD on whether I'll be there. But that's next week. But again, I wish I could see that. You know what? I can bring up the chat.
I got one question coming from the chat.
Yeah.
Regeneron? What's up, Spencer?
Oh, so I am going to get at Lisa's behest. I am going to get the monoclonal antibody treatment today because I qualify for that.
What about Ariel?
Because you have asthma?
Because I have asthma. She does not. She has no pre-existing conditions, so I don't know if she can qualify.
But you're
we'll find
going
out.
to get it? You already called?
I know. I didn't call. I have to call them after we're
You
done
have to
here.
call them.
Hold on. My computer may be doing some weird things right now. But I'm trying to pull up the chat with very limited screen space. So anyway, that's the story. That's why the show got off to a slow start. That's why my camera's not on. There's my computer being weird again.
Okay.
Well, we're glad you're feeling good, Spencer. You
Yeah.
sound
Yep.
good.
a
Obviously, it
curveball.
seems like the vaccines are somewhat working for you guys because neither of you are very sick so far. So we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Definitely. I mean, that was a concern of mine the entire time. Is I have
Yeah.
a pre-existing lung condition,
Yeah.
and this is a lung disease, but I have no breathing problems. I have no wheezing, none of that. So I'm feeling like pretty encouraged. So yeah, that's basically the story. That being said, let's David,
What?
don't worry. Okay, I can see the chat now. David, I'm gonna get some equipment today, I hope, from the office. So
Okay.
I will be better equipped.
Hey, Spencer, if you need anything, let me know. I can go get
Oh,
it and leave it
thank
on
you.
on your doorstep.
I thought you were gonna say call Dennis.
No. I was gonna say call Lisa, but she's got a busy day. So.
Appreciate it.
I will.
Appreciate
So
it.
let me know. Let me know if you
All
guys
right,
need anything.
appreciate
Okay?
it. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, thank you everyone in the chat. Let's get to the markets here, Joel. Let's bring up the chart.
Boy, oh boy. Down 42.25 handles, 42.91.75. I'll save the market talk for when Triple D comes on here in a minute.
I'm on right now.
Well, crude down 65 cents, 78.28. Gold down 220, 17.58.50. Silver in the red by 20 cents at 22.41. Bitcoin 52 handle, 52K, 52.110, up 480. Ethereum going the other way, down 3%. I would keep an eye on that Bitcoin bulls because that's been the leader. That's down 110 bucks or 34.14. I'm going to bring up the S&P chart here. And we had a couple inside days, and we have a trading range. And Mitch and I were on at 330, 340 yesterday, and I was just talking about, wow, all these highs in the same area and all these lows in the same area. And it looked like we were just, it looked okay. And then late in the day, man, someone came in with their selling shoes on, and they haven't let up. So, Dennis, I guess we're at the, down, up 40 handles, you sell it, down 40 handles, you buy it. I just don't know how long. I think this time, I don't think we're going to get is back up to that 43.60 area. I think this is a really interesting day because the market has been knocked down and it's come back. And this is going to be really like this is the fourth try. So support is support until it's broken. And we've been in the trading range, but man, oh man, what a choppy start to the quarter.
I mean, you look at that chart though, and it's very clear. That range is very clear, and it is not paid to chase any move. We're going to say it again. We've been saying this for a month, even months. We've been saying this for 2-3 months. It's been the fade trade market, the contrarian market, the selling of the rips, the buying of the dips. If you're buying the rips and selling the dips, you are losing money to the people who are doing it the right way. So, I mean, this last 4 or 5 days is just a perfect example of what this market has been for a long time. That, you know, the market with no memory, we go up 50, down 50. So if we look at the last 4 days, down 60 handles, up 60 handles, down 60 handles, up 50, 60 handles. Today, down 50 handles. I mean, the trend is your friend. And the trend right now is no trend. The trend is just fade everything. So, I mean, am I coming in and buying some stocks today? Probably. Am I putting anything in my long-term portfolio? No, because I'm nervous about this market overall too, Joel. But as a trader, I'm still buying dips, selling rips until further notice.
Yeah, and actually we didn't even get to those lows. One thing that we have just a great guest on, and it's always great having Ryan on because that man does his homework, and he showed us that one chart, where after every 5% correction, where the market has been in 6 months, right? And it's pretty bullish. I mean, what he showed us in that chart, and then I asked him, I'm like, well, are any of those times is the market coming off a double in 18 months? And he said no. And that to me, I mean, just I'm looking at this monthly chart and it just looks like we got a couple more red candles coming. I mean, we just, if we hold flat, it's fine. But one red candle usually begets another red candle. We haven't had that in so long. So I was on the edge on Monday. We went down. Tuesday, we battled back. Now, boom, knock us down again. I mean, I don't know how many times we can hit this floor and bounce. But as we speak, we're 17 handles off the low. So let's go with what has been happening instead of constantly, trying to predict. And right
Yeah,
now,
well,
we're
that's it.
bouncing
You
off
go
support.
with the information you have, and this information is that we're just chopping around. But I will tell you, there's not a lot of places to hide here this morning. So looking to my trusty S&P filter here, I see Biogen trading higher. I see Zynga. I don't know if it's in the S&P, but I have some of my select stocks in there. So I shouldn't say S&P filter. I have 1,000 stocks in this filter. It's all small, mid caps and mega caps. And there's literally 3 stocks trading higher. And I can give you the 2 right now. They're Biogen, Teva, and Zynga. Out of 1,000 stocks I'm filtering. 1,000. There's 3 that are trading higher. So obviously there's more stocks than that. These are just, the mega caps that I'm looking at. And I shouldn't say these are bid higher because my filter is looking at bids. So there may be an outside trade where something traded higher, like for instance, a WY ticked higher. It's not bid higher though. So it's probably just somebody like, oops, I just bought that thing flat and probably going to lose money. So I don't know. No place to hide here today. We've been talking about gold as a hedge, and how it has not been working. Again, it doesn't work. You get the market significant sell-off. This happens 3 years ago, gold dripping higher. Not in this market. Gold just kind of goes with the flow too and just cannot seem to catch a rally. And like we've been saying, if it doesn't want to go up in this inflationary environment, when is it going to go up? So it doesn't play defense. It doesn't, go up in inflation. I don't know why to own it then, unless it's going to be a Johnny come lately catch-up trade here where all money managers are looking for a home. But it's been difficult to be long and bullish gold too, because it's just going down with the overall market as well. I don't know what to say. A part of me wants to go buy stocks like in the long-term portfolio because there is some stocks that we do like. There is some stocks that are getting fairly cheap. But it seems like every time I stick something in a long-term portfolio, 3 days later, I'm not happy that I did that. Exact opposite of 2020. You stick something in your long-term portfolio, 3 days later, you're happy that you did that. So it's tricky. I mean, what are you looking at, Joel? Are you looking at buying anything, or you're just laying off here right now?
No. Right. No.
I mean, in weakness, we're supposed to be looking for buying opportunities.
this
If
is
we do believe that Spencer could be correct with his analysis that we make new highs, we're going to want to add a few stocks. I kind of want to buy BABA. Again, I want to try. I have BABA in the long-term portfolio. I kind of want to buy it for a swing trade for the simple reason is that it wanted to go up yesterday, and now the market knocks it back down. You have the level to lean on, 138.43, but then I think, okay, well, overnight risk is significant always in China. We all of a sudden, we don't know where Jack Ma is or some bad headline comes and it falls $10 in your face. But I mean, it kind of wanted to go up yesterday. It was its first healthy candle, closed fairly strong, and then the market knocks it back down. Same thing with Nike. Nike, like you were saying, Joel, got a rating yesterday, a buy rating. It was trading higher, looking good. Market knocks it back down. So those were 2 stocks that kind of wanted to go higher. that are getting knocked back down by the overall market. And that's when I'm looking, as trading opportunities. I look for what was strong yesterday. And if I'm buying the dip, the strength usually goes back into those stocks. Another one is General Motors. Very strong yesterday, strong after hours yesterday. They do have their Investors Day coming up. I think it's this week. If it's not, do you know, Spencer, in the background? Do you know when the GM?
Tomorrow. Well, it's a multi-day event. I think tomorrow's the big day.
Tomorrow. So we
Today.
have an event
I
for a
just
run-up
wanna-
into an event.
Or today.
But again, if the
Fact
market
check
just, continues to puke here this
today.
morning, obviously none of
Alright,
that's going to work. So a
today
lot
and
of times
tomorrow.
what I do, and I'll talk about this on October 16th, is if I think there's an event where a stock, might run up into it, what I do is I buy the stock and short, the equivalent of beta hedge SPY against it. Because then, I'm protecting myself in the event that the market continues to sell off to a certain extent. So that's how I trade market neutral. So trying to extract the clean alpha from the event run up. And if you did that overnight on General Motors, you were actually making money because GM's only down 0.24% and the SPY's down 1.1%. They were also talking it up on fast money last night, which helped. So there is some stocks that I'm interested in. But again, you're in a market environment that there's a hell of a lot of uncertainty and a lot of risk. So keep that in mind.
They're blaming it's still the inflation story again. And
what else is there to blame? And they're right. I mean, everything's the inflation problem, really, to a certain extent. I mean, yeah, we have a COVID, we have a pandemic, we have a lot of other issues happening, but there's a serious inflation problem. And it is getting talked about on CNBC 25 times a day. So there is no doubt that everybody, has been notified that, hey, we've got some inflation going on. And you're seeing it, Hostess going up on their bags of chips. I mean, there is inflation everywhere. The natural inflation defense is commodities. So commodities have performed fairly well besides gold, but you've seen oil strong. You've seen, and I was buying some steel stocks. That's something else I would be buying on the pullback today. I mean, Cleveland Cliffs is catching an upgrade from Goldman Sachs this morning. I own Cleveland Cliffs. It's in the long-term portfolio. I put it back in there at 19.5. Lots of lows down there. You get in the low 20s. I don't mind it here. If we're going into this big bear sell-off, everything's going to get hit. I'm not a full believer. I don't have that information yet, so I still want to own some stock. So yes, I'm still looking at commodities, buying those stocks on pullbacks. Not oil, because I hate oil.
Also it's look where we're at in relay. I'm going to go to the cash index here. I mean, for the most part, we're at all-time highs. I mean, we're now 250 handles off it, but still, if you've been investing, forget about this run up here, but for all these years, I mean, you know, yeah, and I know you can't take profits, long-term portfolio.
Where else are
pay
you going,
taxes.
though, Joel? Tell me where. I turn around and I sell all my stocks. What am I investing in? The real estate market, which I do invest in real
Inflated.
estate, is a bigger bubble than the stock market in most places. It's not cheap. The houses around me in Ontario, so where I live, housing prices apparently went up 32% year over year.
I don't
In
have an
1
answer.
year. They went up 32%. You're going to buy now? So
I don't
where
know.
am I going? If I go to cash, I lose to inflation. If I go into bonds, I'm picking up I can go in some preferred stocks and get 6%, in a couple preferred stocks, which I do own. But then again, an Enbridge, which was featured last night on Mad Money, I own that too. You get a 6% dividend. It's pretty nice utility stock. I don't mind that. But at the same time, you're not doing very much better than inflation right now because we're running 5-6%. So, yes, they can say we're running 2%, but that's BS. We're actually probably running significantly hotter than that. So, the only place where, you think you're going to be probably keeping up at least is to own physical assets. That's why I was saying commodities maybe, but it's very difficult to come in here and just sell all your stocks and move to cash in an inflationary environment.
Bitcoin just jumped again here. We're up a G now. Do we got
Well, there you go. That's an inflation trade too, though.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin is an inflation hedge. We don't know if Bitcoin, fundamentals, values, and intrinsic value, there really isn't much there. It's got value because everybody else deems it has value. But I own a little bit of Bitcoin. I own a little bit more Ethereum because of the utility. But those are inflation hedges as well. At least people are playing them as inflation hedges. Are they going to work in the long run? It depends, if this Bitcoin thing continues to catch on. But, I went into the local Canadian Tire. People can make fun of me there. I was getting my brakes changed, and in the background, there's two people, at the Canadian Tire Workers, and they were talking about Bitcoin. I mean, the one guy's like saying, "Oh yeah, I've bought some Bitcoin." I mean, so you can interpret that in two ways: is Main Street, the late to the party, and they're just buying Bitcoin now, and this is the top, or is it starting to catch on that other people are coming in and Bitcoin's starting to go mainstream, where everybody's starting to hear about Bitcoin and is interested, and maybe if they're interested, they're going to start buying as well. So it used to be just pockets of, the people. You would go out, if you went 2 years ago and went on the street and asked a random person about Bitcoin, they wouldn't know anything about it if they've even heard of it. That's not the case anymore. So Bitcoin has been heard of by most people. I think if you go to a random person in the street, I think 90% of people are going to at least heard of Bitcoin.
I think more than 90.
I bet, and I'm being conservative, I think, when I say 90%. So, there's a number of ways to interpret that. But we talked about Bitcoin 2.5 years ago on this show. And we kind of, and we had James Angel on this show, and we thought it might just fizzle out eventually, which it kind of did. But you know what? It came back. It didn't go away. It didn't go away. It didn't go away. And it's been too long now, in my opinion, to just think it's going to fizzle out. So does it end in a fiery crash? It might, but that's why I'm just putting speculative capital in it. But you know what? If people believe in this, and we're getting other countries adopting it now, I mean, there's a bull case there. And I'm somewhat of a believer. I hated Bitcoin forever. We know on this show I turned around and got bullish at 10,000. And that's when I turned around. I didn't buy it then. I should have bought it then. I ended up buying it at 17,000. So I don't know. I'm sticking with it. It is an inflation that helps that too. So commodities, crypto helps to a certain extent, but they are risk assets, and all these things are risk assets. And if you're thinking an impending crash is coming, you don't want to own anything except cash. I don't know if the crash is coming, which is why I stay invested.
I don't think there's a crash coming. I just think there'd be, there doesn't always have to be crashes. There just could be, orderly sell-offs. And I think that's more likely at least for the remainder of the year. I think also looming, you say, don't fight the Fed, don't fight the Fed. Well, the Fed rates may be going up. So if you're going to go with that, then, maybe it's time. But like you said, Dennis, where do you go? Where do you hide? There's nowhere to hide.
You've got to go into risk assets, because if you're going into commodities, you're going into crypto, those are risk assets. You're not going to make any money going into, and if you think bonds are safe, if you think the TLT is safe, I'm going to say it here again. I believe, and I said this on the show at 151, I believe the TLT is going to eventually be under that low of the year 133. I would not be surprised if the TLT loses 20-25% from here. I think, and if you're looking at that, then you want to be, if you think the TLT is going to weaken that much, you want to be long banks. Banks are not expensive. They've been hiding. I mean, if we look at anything that is performing in this market, it has been the banks. JP Morgan made new all-time highs 2 days ago. The banks have been performing. So if you go back to your basic economics courses here, it is working. Where interest rates impact, banks want higher rates. There's no doubt that they want higher rates. And you know what? I think they're going to get them, because, the market, the Fed can control low, and the Fed isn't coming and raising rates. We're not saying rates are going to 4, 5, 6, 7% again.
No way,
but they're going to start ticking higher, and they are ticking higher, and you're seeing it in the bonds. So I don't want to own any bonds. I don't want to own any treasuries at 1.5%. I mean, I'm losing guaranteed to inflation. I think I'm going to lose on my capital as well, because I think those bond prices are going lower.
Hey, here's some perspective for you. On this day, I think it was in 1978, Paul Volcker raised interest rates to 12%. So there. Also,
what day? What year was that?
To 12%, or
no, up 12% from where they were, I think.
No, up to 12%.
What year?
1978.
Oh, in 78.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they went to 20.
Yeah. And then the next thing I want to say is I'm with Paul Ader in the chat. I'm not convinced Bitcoin is a great hedge. But anyway, let's move on.
We are not calling Bitcoin a hedge. We are saying it helps with inflation. It is a risk asset. So don't think because the market crashes, the stock market crashes, that you're safe in Bitcoin. If the stock market crashes, Bitcoin will crash too. This correlation we've told you on the show for the last couple of years. Bitcoin is correlated with the overall market, at least in the last year. You're seeing when the market's up big, usually Bitcoin's up big. Yes, you get days like today where Bitcoin's up and the market's down. But overall, if you put those two charts on top of each other, you can see there's a clear correlation, at least right now, because Bitcoin and crypto is risk assets, and they're all being grouped. Money's moving in, money's moving out. But I mean, on a day like this, it's interesting that crypto's higher because, like I said, I was struggling to find a stock that is higher. So crypto higher today. Is that good news for the market, Joel? Does that mean this market bounces back once again? I mean, we have come significantly off the lows
Yeah, we're
already,
25
even since
handles
we
off the
started the
lows.
show.
Yeah.
We're
Yep.
up 20 handles since I woke up this morning. Again, the buy the dippers say, well, I see the pattern that's here. We go up 60, down 60, up 60, down 60, up 60, down 60. I'm buying when we're down 60. You know what? If you're buying when we're down 60, you're only down 30. You just made 25 points. So it's been working.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's the cash, which isn't really maybe we'll get this. I mean, let's see. We've had we're working on our fourth inside day in a row. Wow. I mean, that I'm using the Globex ranges, folks. So when I use the Globex range, that's what you got. So maybe we'll just calm down. Maybe we'll just be the battle of 4,300 here. And I want the ranges to calm down. That was one thing I said on Monday. The one thing that concerned me was the big ranges. And that's what we had in March and April. We had 200, 250 point ranges. And then, it calmed down. It calmed down. It came in. And then, just, a couple months ago when we were going, it was like these stair step. The ranges probably got down to 30, 35. And now they're back over 70. So let's just calm down and let's have the market calm down, hold these I mean, it's a quad low right now to me. I don't care if you want, if they're not the exact number. I think in this kind of market, 10 handles is kind of like just a blink. So let's hold. I'd feel a heck of a lot better if we could break out of that top of that blue line that I had there. And if we take out the bottom, I think we have a quit date with the quarterly low, and that's 42.14. So there's the setup. Let's just have the market calm down. But there is one stock that's up today, and every time they get a contract, Palantir trading up sharply higher. Spencer, why don't you give us what was it?
Way
800?
off where it was last night. Way
Is it?
off where it was last night.
Yes,
Really?
it is. Yes, it is. So this is it. Honestly, it's more of the same. It's always with them a new contract, and that's what it was
Wow.
yesterday. They announced an $823 million contract with for intelligence data with the U.S. military, and it's always a contract headline with them. I feel like.
Yeah, it is. And you
Yeah.
know what? The story continues here. As traders, we just have to recognize patterns. The pattern has been to sell the rips every time there's a 10, 15% rip in Palantir. It's been a selling opportunity. And we were ripping up, and obviously you can blame the market to a certain extent here, but we were 26.5 last night.
Oh.
We have already given back half of the gain. Now, are we going back flat? I highly doubt it. Is this a stock I would buy on the pullback for the day trade? At 24, you probably get the old resistance becomes new support from the last 2 days trick. So, as a day trade, maybe. But it's tough when you're buying stocks last night, like people coming in, I gotta hold Palantir. It's up 15%. It's going up 30%. No, it's not. This is not the way this market is working. This market is working when it goes up 15%, it eventually comes back down. We've been talking about this trend. So if you're buying it last night, up 15%, you're definitely not listening to pre-market prep because we're not buying the rips, we're selling the rips. Now, is this a rip here this morning when it's up 7? No, it's already given half of it back, so it's not ripped as much now. So, maybe you get down, like I said, the lower 24s, maybe there actually is a buying opportunity. As it go back, if we get a rebound in the market, get back up to 26 a day, it could. But again, just follow the patterns. And if you're chasing stock price here, you are doing it backwards. It's been working that way for months.
Wow, $2 off the high. I mean, someone just caught the news and they just started bidding it, bidding it, bidding it. They took it to the end. This is where the after hours session right up at the top, and then someone just came in at 4 a.m. and said, "Well, hey, looked at it on a market perspective, and if you took this thing home and it closed on the low of the session, you get a look at 26," and they just started whacking it. So the top of yesterday's range, I don't know if we're going to get that low today. That comes in just under 24. I don't here you have some risk, but you never know. You could just get a quick seller off the open and push it down. But that 23.88 was the high of the yesterday, and then 24 the other day. So old resistance, new support if it gets down there.
Let's go to the
Can
one
we do
earnings.
CEI?
Oh, I didn't know if you want to talk about this or not. I guess
Well,
you do.
it's a good
Okay.
story. I mean, here's
It's
a
a great
stock.
lesson. It's a great lesson.
It's a great lesson.
Yeah. So CEI, basically, yesterday there was a short report out. Was it Spruce Point? I don't remember exactly who the short
I think it
report
was Spruce
from.
Point.
Regardless, if you've been following the stock, you've been following it on social media. It's been a darling of excuse me, Zach Morris, who's been pumping this one for a while, and it's a great lesson in knowing why you own something, right? And if the only reason you own something is because somebody else said so, then that's not a great reason. And also know when to take profits, because this thing went to $5.
I mean, we see these stocks get hot on social media, Discord, Reddit, Twitter, and and we see it come into our chat, and people can't stop talking about, like, when you go ticker time, the hot stock of the day is literally the one that everybody wants to talk about the most. But these smaller companies that are getting pumped or getting talked about a lot on Twitter, and a lot on Reddit or Discord or whatever the social media platform is, a lot of times are just getting talked up. And obviously they pulled the rug out from under this thing yesterday. Spruce Point did, and it got hammered. You had all the short-term traders that were flying in this. So you can trade anything, and you can come this stuff. Some of these are good little momentum trades. You get on them early, they can continue to go. But you just got to be careful. And Spencer's making a great point. Just blindly buying somebody because somebody on social media told you to do it is, you got to do your own homework. You got to do your own due diligence. I mean, a lot of these stocks, and we've looked at these Reddit stocks before, and we've looked at a lot of these ones from Discord before, where it seems like they get the big pop, they go up, like AHT was another one too. This thing, and obviously did the reverse split, but this thing, went from, and I think it did the 1-for-10 reverse split, so it's hard to tell in the charts, but it was like 18 all the way up to 70. It's $14. It seems like eventually they go back to where they came from. So you've just got to be careful blindly chasing these things. You don't want to get whole. I mean, BIG was another one that everybody was talking about. $2 to $12. Great move. I mean, there was some big money made in there. But you know what? At the end of the day, there's some big money being lost now. And it seems like when the dust settles on a lot of these stocks, that a lot of these companies, especially the ones that it's a high short interest, you got to buy it. The reason a lot of these smaller companies have high short interest is because they're not very good companies, that they're not doing stuff exactly, and a lot of these are actually companies that are on the verge of failing. So when you're jumping in because something just has a high short interest and you think it's the next AMC or GME, a lot of times they don't work out that way. I mean, Bed Bath & Beyond, same thing. Everybody jumping back in, high short interest stock, and they were moving, and there was trades in there.
Ooh, look at that thing.
30 to 53, it's back down to $14.68 here now. So all I'm saying is don't get caught holding the bag. If you want to play the momentum, play the momentum. But when the trend breaks, when you start to see the stock start to leak and make new lows, it is absolutely time to go. We've talked about that Wish stock. It goes down every day almost. New all-time low again for Wish this morning. So these are stocks everybody was saying, oh, it's going to $69. I saw it I see it in my Twitter stream. I don't even follow any of these, but it's just in there because there's so many people talking about it. Eventually the talk cools, and a lot of these stocks are, they're being talked up, and eventually when the talking slows down a little bit and the buzz starts to fade, there's not any new buyers to come in, and then the stock prices start to go down.
And this one, I had not been looking at it, but you had the run up, you had just a great 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-day run, kind of closed, on the big day. I also look at that, like it got to 485. But where did it close that day? It closed at 342. So that was $1.50 off the high. Then you had an inside day in a red candle. I mean, the green candles are fine, but that should be the first warning sign. And then we can see what happened after that. Of course, the short report got it, but that's enough. That's enough on CEI.
I mean, Spruce Point, you can hate them for this. And is it, the question is it manipulative to come out with the short report when you're short and you're coming out with these short reports. I mean, all of this is just gray in my opinion, and some of it's
So
like
gray.
not even gray. Like I don't like the fact, and I think that the SEC does need to crack down on some of this stuff, that somebody can load up a position either long or short and then completely talk their book again and again and again in social media and then dump into it. Or in case, if it's Spruce
Short
Point,
report,
I don't know
yeah.
if Spruce Point was covering yesterday. I'm not sure, what the situation is, but they're definitely influential. And, they come out with a short report and they are short the stock. They say they're short the stock and the stock falls 50, 60%. Are they covering into their own report? I mean, they're the catalyst and then they're using that catalyst to get out. Is that the definition of manipulation? I think
It is
some
in
people
my
would
book.
say, I think some people would say it is. I'm not a regulator. It's not my place. But I think regulators are going to look at this type of stuff. I think they're going to look at social media platforms and these social media influencers. And I think if they are looking at social media influencers, they need to look at stuff like Spruce Point as well and make sure that, hey, this is legitimate research. And I'm Spruce Point, I'm not saying anything. I'm just using them as an example here. But I think, like if you're coming out and you're covering into your own catalyst, I would have a problem with that if I was a regulator. I think the regulators should have a problem with that. If they're putting on a short and they're holding in, I think Citron usually would hold their shorts for a long time. If they're coming out and they're voicing their opinion, freedom of speech, and they're holding it for months and they think it's a zero, that's a completely different story. But if you're coming out with an opinion and you're put out this short report and then you cover it that day into that catalyst, that's where I would have a problem. So I don't know if Spruce Point covered yesterday. Hopefully they didn't, but I would have a problem if that's what they were doing.
Yeah, it's a good lesson. It's a great lesson, right? In owning these stocks.
The lesson is a lot of this stuff, like you can't just buy a stock and throw it in your long-term portfolio because it has high short interest. Because you know what? When you go back and you look at all these high short interest stocks, and we could do that as an exercise,
That's
a
not
lot
really
of
what
these
this
stocks
was.
have come down a long ways. A lot of these shorts ended up being right.
Yeah, that's not really what this wasn't a short interest thing, but it was a social media thing, and yeah.
What did they say? Did you actually? I didn't even go through the Spruce Point report. Did they talk about how it's been talked about on social media?
Spruce Point, even for them, seemed especially giddy about this one. They called it their best opportunities since 2014.
What was their price target?
Probably zero.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So yeah, and you know what? If they're gonna try to hold to zero, and they're doing that, that's them. I don't, like I said, I don't think. Like, what's your opinion? I think if you want to come out and give your opinion, you want to be short the stock. I think there should be some rules that you can't cover that day or the next day. I think you should have like almost like a lockup period on yourself, because when you're that influential, you shouldn't be allowed to just take it by using your influence. So what I would say is, and I'm not sure, like I said, I don't even know if Spruce Point has talked, if they've covered. We don't know that. I'm just saying, if they have, I don't think that should be allowed.
Yeah. All right.
That's just my opinion. A lot of people are gonna get pissed off.
It's everyone. Someone's always gonna be pissed off. A lot of people are underwater in this one, and I'm sorry if that's you.
And I feel bad. That's what I feel bad about. The
Yeah.
people who are coming in on these hot social media stocks and chasing them up, and maybe they're doing this on the side, and they're like, "Oh, everybody's talking about this stock, and it's going to go up a lot higher. Everybody's talking about it." When everybody is talking about the stock, it's usually more indicative of a top than a buying opportunity. So, like when I used to go and my barber, you go get your hair cut, and your barber's talking about this hot stock tip that he heard. Those usually are contrarian indicators. If you're hearing about your hot stock from your barber, there's a lot of times, and you see the chart of the thing, and it's straight up like that. A lot of times, that's the last person to have bought.
The other thing is, like, whether or not you agree with the reasoning behind.
I think it was Carisdale. Sorry, we said Spruce.
Sorry,
I believe it was Carisdale yesterday.
Carisdale?
So we gotta apologize.
Apologies. And the other thing is, like, whether you agree or not with the long thesis or the short thesis is almost irrelevant. All that really matters is the price and your tolerance for risk, right? It's how much pain can you take. If you can take all this pain, then okay, great. If you can't, then that's on you to know that, right?
We've got a great question coming from the chat too, from Lori Jones. She says, Dennis, how is this different from GS and JP Morgan when they upgrade and downgrade stocks? The analysts move prices. Michael Pachter from Wedbush is not allowed to own the stocks that he covers. Not allowed. Wedbush doesn't allow that. So he cannot profit from his own opinion. That's the difference. So he can come out with an opinion and he will move price, but he cannot profit from that opinion. And most of the analysts are the same way, that the analysts are not allowed to own the stocks that they're covering, that they're talking about. So I think that's, the big difference is that it's not like, all of a sudden GS upgrades a stock and now we're all going to sell the stock. I mean, and the analysts
They have
sell
mixed
stock and everybody's
results.
going to make money.
Yeah. There's mixed results on those. I think what they're alluding to, Dennis, more is not so much the individual analyst, right? But maybe clients of the firm. But a lot of these big funds. I mean, they follow these analysts and they make moves, based on their
For
recommendations,
sure
along
they
with
do.
some of their own research. So you just have to, I mean, as far as that, I mean, whether that goes on or not, you just have to interpret the price action and you can see what happens. Like, and a great example, like Nike. I mean, that, it needed a catalyst, right? It put 3 or 4 lows in the same area, right? You had an up market and it just got the teeniest little bit of catalyst, right? And it had a really good day. It's one of the best days it had since pre-earnings. So, don't worry about who's doing this and who's doing that. And
Worry about what you're doing.
yeah, what you're doing, figure
Yeah.
it out. Like if you would, if you recognize 4 or 5 lows in the same area, you're leaning on the low of the move, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Wedbush comes out, and use it to your advantage. And that had a nice move yesterday. It almost filled the gap from where it opened. It got up to 151. I mean, there was no level or anything for me or whoever had it to sell it at 151, but use these kind of things to your advantage instead of complaining about them. But now Nike, down $1.31. If you're all right, so you're looking at it, it got pumped on yesterday. Hey, if you really want to own Nike here, you went what? You had a 7-point move, right? Boom. Not quite 6-point move. This is coming right back. 147 and a half, 148. Wow, you missed it, but now the market's giving you an opportunity. So just wanted to use Nike as an example where, use them to your advantage instead of, complaining about it.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk Constellation Brands for a second here. STZ.
Wow,
'cause
we
they
haven't
did have-
talked about that in a long time.
No, we have not. You're right. Anyway, their EPS out this morning. They missed a little bit. $2.38 versus a $2.77 estimate. Sales did beat though 2.37 versus $2.3 billion. So mixed report. Beat on the top line, miss on the bottom line.
What is the? I'm just curious. What's the one that just got whacked and kept getting whacked? Samuel Adams.
Yeah, Sam.
Yeah, though, Sam.
And it
What's
has
the
not
symbol?
even come back.
SAM.
It has
SAM.
not come back a schmidgen even. It is right at the lows, Joel.
Oh,
This has been a story, and we've talked about the craft breweries eating the majors lunches to a certain extent, but this is also squeeze on a lot of things. And again, has Sam come down enough that, it eventually starts to make sense? Maybe. I like Tap maybe better. But, you look at Constellation Brands. I mean, Jack Daniels isn't going away. So, this is a stock that's held up fairly well. Are some of these margins going to get squeezed? Is there inflationary? Did they talk any inflationary concerns? I'm not sure. And if there is those issues there, Constellation Brands, I guess anybody's read the report.
this has been in a trading range for a long time. I'm just going to go to the monthlies here, and it's it's near the bottom of the trading range, not quite at the bottom. So look at it that way. What was the low? The low from going back 207.35. You're 5-6 points away from that. The current low for the month is 10.59. So it's been in the trading range. It's just let's see how long it hangs out the bottom of the trading range. If I was looking at this from like a day trading perspective, like even if you want to buy it on strength, got 3 highs at the 216 area. It takes that out and holds 216. I think you got some room on the upside, and you're opening into a couple lows at 10, well, not quite yet. 1046, 10 and a half. A lot of lows in the 210 handle.
Do we have a
Even-
guest?
No guest today.
No
Oh, I
guest.
was going to say, we're a little bit late for our guest. I was just looking at the time. Time flies. when you're
No
having fun.
guest.
Our guest is Spencer.
Yes, exactly right, Joel. Exactly right. Hey, what else was on the list here? There's a couple.
Baba.
Baba. Yeah.
Baba's the next
Hey,
thing I see on that nice
yeah,
screenshot there.
I saw this headline. Charlie Munger, I guess through a firm that he controls, Daily Journal, which the ticker there is DJCL. Through that firm, they've increased their Alibaba stake by 82% since July. They've bought 136,000, almost 137,000.
I thought you said Icon.
I'm sorry. No, Munger. Did I say Icon?
Yeah,
I meant Munger. I'm sorry. Munger.
He's a value guy. Stock's cheap.
Munger
if you think Alibaba is not going to continue to be impacted by the China Communist Party, then, that stock is dirt cheap. I don't know. I have that unknown, which is why I don't add to the position. I still have the small position in Alibaba. I kind of want to try it. I said this earlier on the show. I kind of want to try it for a long here, leaning on the low of the move. Again, whenever I enter a trade, first thing I look at is where am I getting out if I'm wrong. So $3, the low of the move is 138.43. So if I think the low of the move could be in, which it had a nice day yesterday, wanted to rally. It was a good tape yesterday. It's selling off in a bad tape here today, so kind of going with the overall market. I kind of like the trade. I like the setup. Again, if the stock takes out that low, though, I got to get out. This would be the trade portion of it, not the long-term investment. So if I was trying it for a trade here, buying at 141.64 here right now, which is the offer, I'd stop myself out under 138.43.
A lot of red. I love to see. I mean, let's get a green monthly candle here too.
It's so oversold. It kind of wanted to go green yesterday, and then the market started rolling. It was having a really good day actually, and then the market started rolling over late afternoon, and it just kind of hung out. But it held on to those gains not bad. I mean, I don't know. It's so oversold. It makes me want to buy it. But that's the contrarian to me, right? I'm probably wrong.
Wow. If you're doing a short-term trade on this one, you got caught up yesterday, that 38.43. You're hoping that's going to hold. Wow. This is just, let's go to the daily here. What was yesterday's high? 43.83 if you want to target on the upside. But we're holding last month's low, so that's good. Maybe get a green candle. In order to get a green candle in October, I know we're early. We got to close quite a bit higher than this. That would be 148 is we're buying. Bad month after bad month. Yeah, closed last month at 148.05. Let's get a green candle out of Baba before we get too excited.
The Bobster.
And speaking of analyst ratings and upgrades and downgrades, I thought the Goldman downgrades to a couple of airlines this morning was interesting. They downgraded JetBlue and Southwest, I believe, were the two that I saw. I'm not saying there's not more, but those are the two that I saw. Oh, no, it was American and JetBlue. American got downgraded to sell. JetBlue got downgraded to neutral at Goldman Sachs.
I mean, they're selling a little bit of the rallies. They have rallied a little bit from the lows. They're up 15% here. American Airlines cases is up almost 20% here in the last 3 weeks. So they're using that, and they're looking at the 22 resistance and saying that COVID isn't going away anytime soon. And I shouldn't say what they're saying because I didn't read the note, but that's what I'm thinking on it. It's like, well, I still don't kind of want to own airlines for the simple reason I don't believe the business traveler is coming back. And
Nope.
You do have a reopening trade that is going to happen here, though. So I don't want to be short the airlines either. I think I'm more neutral on them.
Skimming along the lows of the pre-market, we did get down to 20.55. Man, you got a little gap to fill here. 20.30. Where's the gap that I'm looking at? The top of that range. We're filling that gap that you had. It was a really teeny one. Boy, in the middle of nowhere. But you had that nice move from 18.5 to 22. Maybe you come back into this $20 area. But watch out, on days like this, because if like you say, oh, Goldman's going to be out there buying today, or their clients are going to be buying, you'll find out off the open. You get that opening print, and then you'll turn off that perhaps in low. But really, I've just been real neutral on the airlines, and this stock is in the middle of nowhere. How's the Jets ETF looking at? JETS, Jets.
We've come back.
Coming off.
We've come up quite a bit. We've had a little reopening trade here. It's actually been performing fairly well.
That looks better than American Airlines. Yeah.
Well, some stocks like LUV have really come up. So I'm torn on them. They've had a pretty good run though. It's not like you're buying at the bottom here, but I guess if you're liking the relative strength, I get it. Next. Ticker time. What are we?
Next,
Ticker
yeah,
time.
let's do some ticker time. Drop some tickers in the chat for us. Noah says, "Looking Marriott, MAR." Okay,
That's been a crazy run.
Can you
That's
believe
been a
this thing
really
holding
nice
up
run.
like
That
this?
stock's almost at all-time highs.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't
You
get it.
guys watch Money Mitch.
Well, okay, tell me why Marriott's at all-time highs.
It's because it just started changing. Look at Hilton. Look at Hilton. It led.
Why are all these
Why
hotels
though?
at all-time
We want to know
highs?
why.
So what happened here was an adjustment period between what was really going to happen from the reopening trade, right? There was a big lift in the summer. So they're expecting to get good earnings. A lot of people are expecting to see good earnings come out of these. And the next thing is, at this point, you're seeing even Airbnb do well, VAC do well, which are their longer terms, their Airbnb. And I think at this point, hotels have already gotten back to normal business. At least hotels. Airlines are going to still struggle completely. Hotels have adjusted, and they've been doing well. I mean, and
I mean, there's a
asked
reopening
people-
trade for hotels, but what I've, been concerned about is the Airbnb. I mean, we had, a lot of these hotels, and if you go back, maybe this isn't the best example, but if you do go back to 20, wow, we gotta go way back. I guess they were all near highs really before the COVID thing started. I don't know. I just, I don't want to be buying hotels at all-time highs. I'm sorry. I'm just not in.
Hey, I was supposed to go to a hotel this weekend. That's not gonna
I went to some hotels. I'm not against
story.
hotels at this point in time. I think they've gotten better with obviously dealing with COVID, and we do have a reopening trade there. But I just think a lot of the reopening stocks are still significantly off their all-time highs. And why are the hotels just forgiven?
I think maybe what they did to adjust to COVID, they probably just cut a lot of expenses is what I'm thinking. And, so if you cut your expenses, I know when we stayed in a hotel in Philly, the hotel was fairly busy, but they didn't have daily, rooms and maid service coming in. So perhaps, if you cut your expenses significantly, then you don't have to make as much money. Marriott's traded down a couple bucks today. I know someone asked about it in the chat. Traded well, the all-time high. You really want to see a bust above 159.98. That's the all-time high. That was back in February. But I would just keep an eye on the closes up here. I know it's down $2. You had a closed off the low. You took out yesterday's low. And I just see this I see 3 closes in a 155 handle. So let's take the close from yesterday, get back above 150, 155.44. That kind of splits 2 lows. I'd feel better if it made a close over 156 and then made a challenge the higher the move. I think the longer it hangs out here, maybe you get some profit taking, but you can't argue with that chart. I mean, hotel, it's
I usually
back.
like buying stocks at all-time highs as trades. I just can't do it because of hotels. I like Airbnb. I've liked Airbnb for a while. I think Airbnb on a pullback is a buy.
Look at WH Wyndham Hotels.
They're all the
Oh,
same.
I was supposed to wait. I was supposed to go to Wyndham this weekend. True story.
Look at that chart.
Where were you going?
Cedar Point. I've never been to Cedar Point, and we booked a trip to go this weekend. And that's not going to happen.
It's fun. If you like roller coasters, I get nauseous, but
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know. Fun.
I
Best
wouldn't
ticker
know.
symbol ever.
Fun. That's made a nice comeback too.
But not all-time highs.
No, exactly. No, I know.
I mean, all-time high on fun is $72. It's $45. So I just don't know why the hotels are at all-time. I get the reopening trade. I just think it's like if you're coming in there and saying, wow, this is a great reopening trade going to happen, I'm going to buy hotels. It's already happened. That trade's happened. It was a great, and it's held on a lot better. Maybe they continue to go higher. Maybe we're all just going to do hotels, but I just think there's competition coming there too. And I like Airbnb. I'd rather own Airbnb than a hotel, even though valuation's kind of nuts.
Someone asked about car. Doesn't stop.
That was the best thing for them, the Hertz bankruptcy.
Yeah. Yep.
Car does not stop. I watch Avis Budget and I scratch my head all the time. Props to Steve Grasso on Fast Money, who's been calling this for the last year. Steve, if you're listening, wow, what a call, man. I mean, he was talking about this at $30. It's 126. So I don't know if he's still in it, but holy mackerel.
Look at the
I don't know
mark
if
on
anybody
this one.
saw this
Wow,
happen.
big day yesterday.
It just goes up. It just goes up.
Wow. Maybe
Eventually, these, this is like buying nosebleed rocket ships. Like, I can't chase them here, but I tell you, if you're in there, just trail your stops up. It's a hell of an uptrend.
Yeah, it is. It closed right near its high yesterday too, 28.78. So I don't even know if there's a seller. Big update yesterday. I mean, the market was good, but that blew it away on a percentage basis. So that's the only number you got, 128.87. And what's Hertz stock now? HTZFKY or something like
I
that?
don't know, Joel. It's too many letters. I don't know.
When Hertz went bankrupt, and not including us, we all thought, okay, well, Carr is, gonna have some trouble here too. That was not the case.
It's HTCGQ. HTZGQ.
It's too many symbols. Once they're over 4 symbols, I don't even
GQ.
look at them ever.
I bet you it's higher.
You said Henry, Tom, Zebra.
Next.
You looking
Yeah,
for
all right.
Hertz?
Yeah.
HTZZ.
Oh, there's more than one? Oh, there's more than one. Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. That's correct too. HTZZ.
Okay. All
Got
right.
you.
That
So-
doesn't want to look at it. Go
I think this is a perfect example of what Dennis just mentioned. When you have a major competitor that all of a sudden just gets wiped out, that's going to superly affect a company that was competing hand in hand and now gets a major lift because it's the leader. It's like, let's say if Android disappeared, what do you think would
Hertz
happen
didn't
to Apple?
disappear though. Hertz stock
Yeah.
got wiped out and it's over, but they're still operating.
Yeah, they're still around.
So, which I don't totally understand why. That would be that. I totally agree with you, Mitch, in the case where you get a company that's just gone and ceases to exist, but Hertz is still operating. So I don't.
To a point,
I
right?
think the car started as a massive short squeeze, and to be honest with you, I don't even know if it ever ended. I mean, anybody who's like, okay, what's 40? It's not going to 50. And that's 128. I mean, this might, I don't know what the short interest. Let's go look at the short interest in car. This is the first time I've been looking at it. But
Hey, I'm gonna hop here. It's 9:00. Time flies when you're having fun.
Go.
Spencer, you gonna do the at the close show? You're gonna see how you feel.
I should be good, Joel. I should be
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Right
All right.
now,
Feel better.
yeah.
I'm gonna hop. We missed a lot of symbols here. I'm gonna hop over to pre-market
20%.
list.
I have 20.
Okay.
I have 20%. So there has been a significant short squeeze here. I'm sure it's just got annihilated on this.
Yep. All right. It's 9:00. We made it through the day with me being very technologically limited. So thanks to Mitch, thanks to Dennis and Joel for carrying us. I mean, not that they don't carry us most days. Thanks to all of you in our chat. The plan is I'll still be here in the mornings and in the afternoons doing stuff. Just got to get some more tech. That's my biggest issue right now. But thanks for bearing with us this morning, everyone. We appreciate it. I appreciate it. And Dennis is gone, so it's just me now. I'm going to hop off the stream here, and live trading will start in about, 5-10 minutes, somewhere in that window. I will not be on, but it'll be Mitch, it'll be Ryan, it'll be Zunaid, and they'll be rolling with you guys. And that's the plan. So, Mitch, I will see you. I'll be watching you, but I won't be seeing you on the stream. So,
Well,
good luck
before
today.
you go,
Yep.
Spencer,
Yep.
I heard there could be an event that I can learn some cannabis.
Oh, you must be referring to that graphic at the bottom of the screen there.
What?
Yes. It's been up there the entire time. I should probably mention that. The Cannabis Capital Conference, which I may or may not be at now, is next week. It's next Thursday and Friday. bzcannabis.com. We've got executives from like 15, 20 of the top publicly traded cannabis companies, Trulieve, Cresco, to name a couple. Go to bzcannabis.com to learn more. But this is always one of our better events. Because
Without a doubt.
yeah, we've been doing cannabis events now for like 4 or 5 years, and they're always really good. So
And
if you're interested in the space at all, cannot recommend it enough. It'll be a hybrid event, in person and virtual. So there's that.
I think it's very important right now, especially to learn about your cannabis companies before we get deregulation in the federal level. Of course, this is what I'm looking forward towards in 2022. We don't know if this is going to happen. Also, banking being talked right now. So it's a very important time in the industry. I would definitely say check it out.
And you guys know that I'm long and strong. I've been long True Leaf, Cresco, Curaleaf, and Green Thumb now for a while, for a little while. So this is a space that I am personally interested in. So very, very excited for next week. And I hope I can make it. We'll know more in a couple days. But anyway, that'll be a wrap, guys. Drop me a like. Can I get some sympathy likes? Can we get some sympathy likes? Come on.
What?
I feel like I at least deserve that. All right, I'm gonna end the stream here, and live trading will start in a few. Everyone have a great day. Good luck at the open.